Well, what do Syrians think about it all? Let's get another take on President Assad's message. Malik Al-Abdeh is the chief editor of Barada television. That's a pro-democracy satellite channel based in the British capital. It broadcasts to the Middle East. He joins us now from CNN London. What are you hearing from Syria? How did people view this speech by the president?
Well, the speech is disappointing and provocative at the same time. Disappointing that he failed to mention any clear reformist agenda. He kept repeating the same mantra that he's been repeating for the last 11 years, which is that he's going to implement reforms, but there's no clear agenda, no clear promises. Provocative in that he described the protesters as being inspired by outside forces, that they want to weaken Syria. He used the word fitna, which in Arabic means sedition. And obviously the implication of this is he's going to clamp down very hard on the protesters. So yes, expect more bloodshed in the coming days.
You know, the reaction is going to be measured here. What we didn't really hear, but he may have been laying it out between the lines. Is there going to be, do you think, a change in the treatment of demonstrators in terms of locking them up, in terms of firing on them?
Absolutely. He made a clear warning to the people of Daraa, where the epicenter of the protesters. He told them, look, we know you're not responsible, you're not directly responsible, but we expect you in the coming few days to side with the government, essentially, to single out the people who are causing these demonstrations. So yes, I think the next few days and weeks will signal a new phase in the crackdown on dissent in Syria, and it will be very, very bloody.
In the end, is this speech going to trigger more protests?
Well, it's already happening. In Daraa at the moment, there are very large protests. I've just received news that at a private university in Syria, in the Syrian capital Damascus, there are protests between pro and anti-Bashar students. People are very angry at this speech, in fact, and they're very disappointed. And the big question is, who is actually Bashar listening to? Is he listening to security personnel? Is he listening to the so-called reformists within his own regime? Is he listening to the Iranian regime, which is very keen to see him remain in power?
Malik, I want to thank you very much for being with us and sharing some of your perspective here on what's happening right now in Syria. Well, in his speech,